Hi you guys, and welcome to video 3 of my tummy tuck journey. In the cover picture I have this envelope right here, and in this envelope were documents that I packed up to take to my pre-op appointment with my plastic surgeon. So I went to that 2 days ago and I got a lot of information. I got my script for blood work as well as the EKG when I go to see my primary care physician. I also got my pre-op and post-op instructions. So it lets me know what I can and can't do before the surgery, what I can do the day of the surgery, as well as guidelines after the surgery as well. But you know, as always, there's a lot of questions that crop up. And I have right here that I took to my appointment, I have 2 pages of questions to ask my plastic surgeon. So he was like, okay, I got a lot of questions to answer. And I was very lucky because I was able to compile these questions from my support group. So one of the most important questions to me is pain relief, because we all know this is going to be painful. And it's funny because you read about some people say, oh gosh, I mean, it really wasn't that bad. I was prepared for the worst. But they really ended up on a more positive side situation where some people say it's just like the worst pain ever, you know, way worse than a C-section. So I'm prepared for this, I think. You know, I have had a C-section and, you know, abdominal surgery at one point in time. So I did get a couple things to help me out that first week, and I'll show you what they are in just a minute. But I asked him about pain relief. I said, do you do Exparel? No, he doesn't do Exparel. He just feels it's a waste of money. Some people say otherwise, but I just go by what my doctor says. And he doesn't do a pain pump either. I said, well, do you give pain pills? Yes, he does give pain pills if he's doing a muscle repair, because that's where the pain's really going to come in. And he gives 5 days of pain pills. He said, only take them if you absolutely need them. You know, I see people in my support group that say, stay on top of your pain pills, kind of like take them a half hour before that scheduled time. So there's no lapse where you're kind of coming off that pain pill, because it does really hurt. He said, only take them if you really, really need them. And then his receptionist, who was in the pre-op appointment with me, she said, you know, I had a tummy tuck too, and I had the muscle repair. She said, all I needed was Tylenol and ibuprofen. And she said maybe she had 1 or 2 pain pills, but mostly she didn't. And she said that's going to be really important so it doesn't plug up your body, because those pain pills really slow your body down. And I mentioned this before. You know, if you gotta do number 2, you gotta have that bowel movement. The painkillers aren't going to be your best friend. So I did talk about getting prunes in the previous video. I did add to this prune juice as well as steel cut oats. I'm gonna make a huge pot of steel cut oats, really nice and watery to get my fluids, and I'll mix in protein powder with that. I did get Dulcolax stool softener, and the bromelain pills and arnica tablets are coming today as well. I have the arnica gel, but he said the arnica tablets are fine to take as well as the bromelain, so I'm going to take them. And I was concerned about some of the complications, so I talked to him about that. And I said, you know, everybody's concerned about blood clots. He said, oh yes, very dangerous. He said, you don't want to get blood clots. And I said, well, when I get home, I said, do I need to be woken up every 2 or 3 hours? Not that I'm going to sleep, right? And he said, no. He said, but just make sure you walk and walk and walk. He said, I want you walking that first day. I want you walking when you go home from surgery. I was like, wow, you know. I said, okay. So I do have a walker, and I told him that. I said, I have a walker to kind of help me, you know, get around. And I said, well, how much walk? He said, you can never do too much walking. He said, walk as much as you can. And he said, if you do that, he said, you can sleep at night. But, you know, just make sure, you know, you're comfortable, you're using wedge pillows, you got your pillows there. They're really going to help you out. Well, actually, the receptionist said that because she has gone through this. I asked him about aspirin, and he said no. He said he doesn't recommend aspirin unless you are in the high risk category for, you know, blood clots or things like that. So no aspirin, no blood thinners. You know, you just get in and then you come home the same day, and like you said, you walk, walk, walk. So you're going to be loopy, So you got to use that walker, and I'll have my husband to help me out too, because bless his soul, he's taking off that first week, and that's really going to help me out. So a couple other things that I'm reading on my list here that I asked him about. Scar tape. I said, how do you, once that incision is done, how do you seal that up? What kind of tape do you use? Do you use adhesive tape? And he said no, because, and I was like, thank God, because he said that he used to use the adhesive tape, but what was happening is some of his patients were getting blisters and then the red patchy areas. And I know that I am allergic to Band-Aid adhesive, and that was a huge worry to me. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm just gonna itch like crazy. You're normally gonna itch anyway when you're healing, but to have that Band-Aid rash too, or that adhesive rash, is just like a nightmare for me. So I said, what do you use? He said he uses super glue, like medical grade super glue. So stitch me up, use the super glue, and I will be cut from hip to hip. And I asked about getting the liposuction of, down there, because I read a lot about people after the tummy tuck, it's very puffy down there. So you're supposed to ask your plastic surgeon, do you lipo that area? And he does. That's standard procedure when he does his tummy tucks. And I asked him about when I get just a smidge of lipo on the sides to just even me out, because like I said, I have an uneven fat deposit on one side. I said, can I use my rolling pin? Because I've seen people use rolling pins on their lipo areas. He said, absolutely. He said, just, wait a week. He said, you can use your rolling pin on those areas to really work in that area, kind of give it a massage and smooth it out. Speaking of massages, I did ask my plastic surgeon, when can I go in for my massage, my first massage post-surgery? I'm going in for a massage 2 weeks before surgery, and then 3 days before surgery. And he said, wait a week. Well, honestly, it's going to be probably around 11 or 12 days after. I get my drains out on the 11th day, I believe, after surgery. He takes them out. Unless you are really just pumping out loads of fluid, he takes them out for most of his patients at that first appointment. And he said, you will continue to swell. He said that fluid is going to go inside your body. He said, don't worry about swelling. He said it'll pretty much go away by 3 months. That's not to say that some people may go more where they're really swelling. I asked him about my ab board. He was like, ab board, I guess he doesn't really recommend them, but I bought one. So I will be putting that under my compression garment, because he said you want to wear a compression garment after your drains are out. So it's just going to be a binder first, then a compression garment, and I'll probably put a camisole on like some people recommend, then the compression board, and then the compression garment. And that will kind of help squeeze me in to try to push those fluids out. I talked to my massage therapist, because she does require a letter from the doctor saying that she can work on me post-surgery. And she said that she actually does lymphatic massage in her regular massages, but her patients don't know it. And I never really knew it either. So she's going to show me some techniques at my next massage to kind of make sure that the lymph fluid is draining out, so I can be better prepared with that. All right, and just looking at any other questions, that was pretty much it. I did ask a lot of questions, but they were related to those things that I just talked about. So I am ready to go for the most part. I did order extra pillows. I ordered 3 extra pillows, and that's actually a good thing, because when my kids come home for holidays and they sleep over, and they always complain that, Mom, don't you have any pillows? And I really don't. So I got 3 extra pillows that to help me out in my reclining chair, and then I can use it for them as well. And on my shelves over here, let's see what I got. I got some fabric from work. I'm going to make, I can't find it right now, but I'm going to make 2 garments button down in the front with pockets at the sides. And I'm going to leave the side seams open a little bit so I can just pull my drains through and just put my drains right in my pockets for easy access. So I'll make at least 2 button down dresses, and eventually they will just become night dresses. And I already have the pattern picked out, so I'm good to go that way. All right, you guys, getting that home stretch, and the surgery is in 4 weeks. So in about 2 weeks, I'll take some pictures, and I'll do a little video of what my body looks like pre-surgery, so you have an idea, you know, as far as you know, my figure, and maybe you have a figure similar to mine. Again, I've never been heavy. I've just had 4 big babies, and they really stretched out my stomach like someone who has probably lost about 80 to 100 pounds. For me, it's just been from pregnancies. So stay tuned for those upcoming videos and get excited. If you are watching this and your surgery is coming up soon, you got this. I got this and you got this. All right, you guys, thanks for watching and take care.